linear motion. A bus takes 195 minutes to travel a distance of 2x plus 30 km at an average speed of x minus 20 km per hour. Calculate the actual distance traveled. Give your answer in kilometers. The two lorries, A and B, ferry goods between two towns which are 3,120 kilometers apart. Lorry A traveled 5 kilometers faster than Lorry B, and Lorry B takes 4 hours more than Lorry A to cover the distance. Calculate the speed of Lorry B. Two towns P and Q are 400 kilometers apart. A bus left P for Q. It stopped at Q for 1 hour and then started the return journey to P. 1 hour after the departure of the bus from P, a trailer also heading for Q left P. The trailer made the returning bus three-quarter way from P and Q. They met at T hours after the departure of the bus from P. A. Express the average speed of the trailer in terms of T. B. Find the ratio of the speed of the bus to that of the trailer. Two athletes in an 800-meter race take 104 seconds and 108 seconds respectively to complete the race. Assuming each athlete is running at a constant speed, calculate the distance between them after the first athlete is at the finishing line. A and B are towns 360 kilometers apart. An express bus departs from A at 8 a.m. and maintains an average speed of 90 km per hour between A and B. Another bus starts from B also at 8 a.m. and moves towards A, making 4 stops at 4 equally spaced points between B and A. Each stop is a duration of 5 minutes, and the average speed between any two stops is 60 km per hour. Calculate the distance between the two buses at 10 a.m. Two towns A and B are 220 kilometers apart. A bus left A at 11 a.m. and traveled towards B at 60 km per hour. At the same time, a matatu left B for A and traveled at 60 km per hour. The matatu stopped for a total of 45 minutes on the way before meeting the bus. Calculate the distance covered by the bus before meeting the matatu. The distance covered by the bus is 120 kilometers. A passenger noticed that she had forgotten her bag in her bus 12 minutes after the bus had left. To catch up with the bus, she immediately took a taxi which traveled at 95 km per hour. The bus maintained an average speed of 75 km per hour. Determine A. The distance covered by the bus in 12 minutes. B. The distance covered by the taxi to catch up with the bus. A town N is 340 kilometers due west of town G, and town K is due west of town N. A helicopter Zebra left G for K at 9 a.m. Another helicopter Buffalo left N for K at 11 a.m. Helicopter Buffalo traveled at an average speed of 20 kilometers per hour faster than Zebra. If both helicopters reached K at 12:30 p.m., find the speed of helicopter Buffalo. A train moving at an average speed of 72 km per hour takes 15 seconds to completely cross a bridge that is 80 meters long. 1. Express 72 km per hour in meters per second. 2. Find the length of the train in meters. Two trains T1 and T2 traveling in opposite directions on parallel tracks are just beginning to pass one another. Train T1 is 72 meters long and is traveling at 108 km per hour. Train T2 is 78 meters long and is traveling at 72 km per hour. Find the time in seconds the two trains take to completely pass one another. The distance between towns M and N is 280 kilometers. A car and a lorry travel from M to N. The average speed of the lorry is 20 kilometers per hour, less than that of the car. The lorry takes 1 hour and 10 minutes more than the car to travel from M to N. A. If the speed of the lorry is x kilometers per hour, find x. B. The lorry left town M at 8:15 em. The car left town M later and overtook the lorry at 12:15 p.m. Calculate the time the car left town M. A bus left Mombasa and traveled towards Nairobi at an average speed of 60 km per hour. After 2.5 hours, a car left Mombasa and traveled along the same road at an average speed of 100 km per hour. If the distance between Mombasa and Nairobi is 500 kilometers, determine A. The distance of the bus from Nairobi when the car took off. A2. The distance the car traveled to catch up with the bus. B. Immediately the car caught up with the bus. The car stopped for 25 minutes. Find the new average speed at which the car traveled in order to reach Nairobi at the same time as the bus. A rail car traveled for 2 hours 40 minutes at an average speed of 120 km per hour. The car consumes an average of 1 liter of fuel for every 4 kilometers. A liter of fuel costs 59 shillings. Calculate the amount of money spent on fuel. The amount of money. Two policemen were together at a road junction. Each had a walkie-talkie. The maximum distance at which one would communicate with the other was 2.5 kilometers. One of the policemen walked due east at 3.2 kilometers per hour, while the other walked due north at 2.4 kilometers per hour. The policeman who headed east traveled for X kilometer while the one who headed north traveled for Y kilometer before they were unable to communicate. A. Draw a sketch to represent the relative position of the policemen. B1. From the information above, form two simultaneous equations in X and Y. B2. Find the values of X and Y. B3. Calculate the time taken before the policemen were unable to communicate. A bus traveling at an average speed of 63 km per hour left a station at 8:15 em. A car later left the same station at 9 a.m. and caught up with the bus at 10:45 p.m. Found the average speed of the car. The average The diagram below shows the speed time graph for a train traveling between two stations. The train starts from rest and accelerates uniformly for 150 seconds. It then travels at a constant speed for 300 seconds and finally decelerates uniformly for 200 seconds. Given that the distance between the two stations is 10,450 meters. Calculate A. The maximum speed in kilometer per hour the train attains. B. The acceleration. C. The distance the train traveled during the last 100 seconds. And D. The time the train takes to travel the first half of the journey. A bus left a petrol station at 9:20 am and traveled at an average speed of 75 km per hour to town N. At 9:40 am, a taxi traveling at an average speed of 95 km per hour left the same station and followed the route of the bus. Determine the distance from the petrol station covered by the taxi at the time it caught up with the bus. A motorist took 2 hours to travel from one town to another and 1 hour and 40 minutes to travel back. Calculate the percentage change in the speed of the motorist. The percentage change. Coach left home to a shopping center 12 km away, running at 8 km per hour. 15 minutes later, Mutua left the same home and cycled to the shopping center at 20 km per hour. Calculate the distance to the shopping center at which Mutua caught up with Coach. The distance is 8 and the graph below shows the relationship between distance s meters and time t seconds in the interval 0 to 6. They use the graph to determine the average rate of change of distance between t is equals to 3 seconds and t is equals to 6 seconds. B. The gradient at t is equals to two towns A and B are 80 kilometers apart. Joma started cycling from town A to B at 10 a.m. at an average speed of 40 km per hour. Mutuku started his journey from town B to A at 8:30 a.m. and traveled by car at an average speed of 60 km per hour. A. Calculate the distance from town A when Juma and Mutuku met and the time of the day when the two met. B. Kamau started cycling from town A and B at 10:21 a.m. He met Mutuku at the same time as Juma did. Determine Kamau's average speed. The figure represents a speed time graph for a cheetah which covered 825 meters in 40 seconds. A. Set the speed of the cheetah when recording of its motion started. B. Calculate the maximum speed attained by the cheetah. C. Calculate the acceleration of the cheetah in 1. The first 10 seconds. 2. The last 20 seconds. And D. Calculate the average speed of the cheetah in the first 20 seconds. Musa cycled from his home to school 6 kilometers away in 20 minutes. He stopped at the school for 5 minutes before taking a motorbike to town 40 kilometers away. The motorbike traveled at 75 km per hour. On the grid provided, draw a distance time graph to represent Musa's journey. You can clearly see a bus traveling at an average speed of 63 kilometers per hour left a station at 8:15 am. A car later left the same station at 9 am and caught up with the bus at 10:45 am. Find the average speed of the car. The average speed of the car is 90 kilometers per hour. Two towns R and S are 245 kilometers apart. A bus traveling at an average speed of 60 km per hour left town R for town S at 8 am. A truck left town S for town R at 9 a.m. and met with a bus at 11 a.m. Determine the average speed of the truck. In a race, Kipsang maintained an average speed of 5 meters per second. When he was 310 meters to the finishing line, Mutunga was 50 meters behind him. However, Mutunga finished the race 10 meters ahead of Kipsang, determining Mutunga's speed. Mutunga A lorry left town A for town B and maintained an average speed of 50 km per hour. A car left town A for B for 2 minutes later and maintained an average speed of 80 km per hour. At the time the car arrived in town B, the lorry had 25 kilometers to cover town B. Determine the distance between town A and B. The distance is two towns, A and B, are 400 kilometers apart. A motorcycle is traveling at an average speed of 60 kilometers per hour left town A for B at 1:20 p.m. A motor traveling at an average speed of 80 kilometers per hour also left town A for town B at 2 p.m. Calculate 1. The distance covered by the motorcycle is at 2 p.m. Part 2. The distance from A in kilometer where the Matter 2 caught up with the motorcycle is. Part 3. The time when the Matter 2 caught up with the motorcycle is. B. A lorry traveling at an average speed of 40 km per hour left the town B for town A at 2 p.m. Determine the time when the lorry and the Matter 2 met. A part 1 is 40 kilometers. A part 2 is 160 kilometers. A part 3 is 4 p.m. B is 5:20 p.m.